Hey guys, welcome back to Vince-Vell Customs. Today I'm doing a review of my Harder Steenbeck airbrushes CR Plus series. Now, these airbrushes are really nice. Jesse from Garage Kits, he actually represents these brushes, and I was able to test these out during Jersey Fest, and they're really nice, and I really wanted to pick them up. So finally had some cash together, and I got rid of all my Badger airbrushes, so I figured let me pick up these two, because I really wanted to get some nice detailing brushes, and something a little bit better and different. So, I got the .15, which is really super detailed, and I got the .4. Now, they make airbrushes that are 2-in-1, which is a .4 and .15 together. It's a 2-in-1 airbrush. But for me, to actually have that airbrush, take off the parts, put on the 4, use that, take off the parts, put on 15 is a little bit more work for me than what I needed. If you're new to airbrushing and you want a 2-in-1 airbrush and starting to learn, that's a good airbrush to get. For me, I need to pick up the 15, use the 15, and then I need to pick up the 4 and use that. So it's kind of like, for me, I needed both different airbrushes. So they're really nice. They come in these nice cases. And the cool thing about these is they got a lot of options to them. And they also come with a quick disconnect. So for me, I use quick disconnect on all my airbrushes, so I don't have to buy the part for it because it automatically comes with it, and that's great. I think all airbrushes should just have quick disconnects, period. It just does. The old way of screwing it in is kind of like obsolete, so quick disconnect is the way to go. So they're really cool. Now, they're really nice, the light, the really super detailed. So this is the .15. It's got a smaller cup on it, as you can see. And this is the .4, which has got a bigger cup. So this is kind of like replacing, the .4 is replacing my Badger Velocities. I wanted something that's kind of like got a nice big cup, and it works, and it cleans really well and everything. And then I wanted basically a .15, which is super detailed. I wanted to dedicate this brush to super detailing stuff, watered down paints, nothing thick, no pearls or metallics, and this is what I picked up this one for. So as you can see, it's got your typical options in the back for how far you want to pull the lever and all that. It's got really cool. It comes with a cap that goes on it right away, but it also comes with this piece here for protecting the needle, or you don't even have to use it. But it works out pretty cool. It goes on nice and smooth and even. You don't have to screw it on, screw it off. It's really nice. Comes with these pieces up here. And also, I guess for cleaning wise, the piece comes off as well. So you can actually get in there and clean these pieces really well, and the screws on really nice and even. So that's kind of cool. That's a good option right there. So this way you don't have to worry about digging in there and trying to get any paint that might get caked up. It's really easier this way. Now I haven't really broken down the airbrush yet that much, but it does like typical airbrush stuff. Now this piece doesn't screw on typically. You have to use the chuck, which is a little piece here. A little piece like this, so you put that in there and you use that to twist that on and off. So that's a cool option too, so you don't have to worry about that coming off. But they're really nice. They're not really heavy. They work pretty good. I've been testing them here and there. I haven't really gotten all the details yet, but I'm working on all that. So they're really nice airbrushes. They're expensive, but it's definitely worth it if you guys are looking to get an airbrush or something. You go to Garage Kits Colors. I'll put the link up in the video so you can order some. Contact Jesse. They're really good. They have a whole line of these brushes. They have a 15, a 2, which is the middle one, and then a 4. So I wanted one with the 4, and I wanted one with the 15. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back. I'm going to set up the 15 on my quick disconnect and show you how fine the detailing and everything is. So it gives you a better idea of all that. So we'll be right back. Alright, so we have the Infinity CR Plus 15, and I put some golden shading gray in the paint, and just to give you an idea how well this thing is, we're at 15 psi, and I took the protective needle off, as you can see is the tip. Basically I like to work that way. I don't like those two-prong things because sometimes paint gets caked on them. But they do come with a protective tip where when you're not using it, you can put this piece on there and you protect it. I don't know if you can really spray out of this, but I don't think you can. I'm not going to try, but I like to work this way where the needle is hanging out. You just got to be very careful you don't prick it or bend it. But give you an idea of how well this thing works. Get really, and you can get nice and So as you can see, you get some really thin lines. You know, it's gotta be watered down. Whoops, spraying too heavy. Now 15 psi might still be too much. But as you can see, you get in there, it's doing pretty well. Get a nice thin line. Let's kick it down to about maybe 10.5. See how this works out. Oops, standing on the hose. Can't be doing that. Alright, so a little too gotta have at least up to 15. So, as you can see, we're getting a little closer. As you can see, really nice detail, nice and smooth, nice crisp lines. So the brush works out pretty good. You know, it's a really nice brush. Iowatas do pretty decent. Badgers do pretty decent, but I think this is definitely going to be my go-to watered down color when I want to do eyeshadow on females. Maybe when I want to do some blush. Maybe there's a little area that I kind of want to hit. I kind of want to keep this strictly to nice watered down colors to get in. I'll have to do a little bit more testing and everything. So that's the 15. So what I'll do is I'll put on the 4. We'll come back, give you an idea how that works out. Okay, we're at point 4, and what I put straight out of the bottle was Createx Pearlized Blue, just to see how the pearls come out. So we'll give you an idea. Now pearls are always pretty thick paint, so just giving you an idea how the thickness comes out. So it works out pretty good. You know, definitely if you're spraying a big heavy piece, works out pretty good, nice and even. Let's see what happens when we'll take some Garage Kit Flesh Tone. Just mix it up. It's going to look pretty nasty, but just give you an idea. So even with the 4, it looks like you can get a nice, good, decent, you know, thin stream, but you can also use it to really coat a piece, as you can see. So it works out pretty good. So basically, let's get these cleaned up and we'll do a final thoughts on it. Alright guys, so let's run down my final thoughts on these. First off, if you do buy the 2-in-1, this gives you an idea of what you're going to get. You'll probably get a case like this, basically. You'll get this cup, you'll get this cup. You'll probably get 2 different caps, or I don't know how it works with these airbrushes. I'm still learning as I go. And you'll probably get 2 needles, and everything will be in one case. So you're basically getting this brush and this brush in one. The only downside is you just got to take off the cap, the needle, put it in a different needle, and go from there. So that's the downside with it. But, you know, for about, I guess, $300 or however much it costs, you know, you're getting 2 airbrushes. So if you're on a budget, you're new to airbrushing, you want to buy a 2-in-1, but you want super fine detail, but you also want a workhorse, look into 2-in-1. But for me, I need one that I could just pick up and run with the 15, and I need one that I could just pick up and run with the 4. So it's just the way I like to work, and it's just easier for me. So overall, they're really nice. They don't come with needles. I actually picked up these needles myself because I like to have backup needles and parts for my airbrushes, because the way I like to work is I don't like having the 2-prong on there, and I don't like having a cap. So I like having the needle showing the way it is, and you get a nice stream, because with these 2 prongs, no matter what airbrush I've ever used them for, they get caked up, and I don't like that. So the way I like to airbrush is like this, with the needle, like all that, and it's easier for me. But the way I work is once I'm done airbrushing and I clean it, no matter what happens, I put the cap back on. But you got to be careful. You don't want to hit it, you don't want to bend it, but it's just the way I work. Now the cool thing about these airbrushes is if you're only going to do a drop of paint, like one little drop, like eyeshadow. You don't even have to have this cup on. You can actually just drop the paint in there, that little tiny spot, and you can use it so you can actually see what you're hitting, which is kind of cool. So you got a lot of options with these airbrushes, and they're really good. Now I found when I put in the pearls and everything, the paint didn't stick to these the metal. It's very nice and smooth, very well made. So that's a good thing. I found that my other Badger Velocities, it just got to the point where paint's caking up to it, sticking to it, it's never coming off. So, you know, I still got to run these over a couple months, and I could do a final video. I could do like, you know, come back and say, okay, after I work for so many months, this is the downside, this is the upsides. So I really need to dive in with them. But first impressions are really good and well worth the money. So if you're interested in these, and if you're looking for these airbrushes, go to Garage Kit Colors. I'll put the information up on the video. Contact Jesse and check them out. See if you're into them. They're really really cool airbrushes. Now, if you're the type of person where you got to try to airbrush, or you actually have to see it in use, or you have to kind of test it yourself, go to Wonderfest, go to Jersey Fest. Jesse's there. He has his table selling his paints, and he has these on display where you can actually sit down and you can test them a little bit before you actually drop the cash on them. Because I know spending money on an airbrush is a lot. You know, it's an investment, you know. It's a lot of money. But for me, I think it's a good investment. I'm excited to dive in with them and use them a little bit more. I still really need to learn the mechanisms of them because it's a little bit different compared to the other ones. But once I learn them, once I learn how to clean them and everything, I could come back and I could do a better video on all that. But this is kind of first impressions. Gives you a better look at them. It's really cool. So, thanks for watching, and we'll get some more review videos up.